Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the Unity Center of West Lynn, Oregon. My name is Jan Carothers and I am your service assistant today. And it's my pleasure to bless and welcome everyone here and everyone who finds us later on YouTube, where we post every service every Sunday. So the Unity Center is a ministry where people of all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs celebrate the one common spiritual thread that lives in every heart. And if you're discovering us for the first time, we invite you to visit our website, which is www.worldhealing.org, worldhealing.org. And we are so thrilled that Reverend Julie Applegate has gotten her electricity back on and she is available to be here today. And we welcome her back. Her talk this morning, by the way, is Prosperity Comes in Many Disguises. It's great to see you, Julie. She'll open our celebration with prayer.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, it's good to have power. We don't appreciate things, I guess, until we don't have them. So yeah, thanks. And our form of prayer is said in the first person because there is only one of us. And so when I speak my word in the first person, I speak my word in prayer, I am speaking for all of us. And this morning in my spiritual reading, I came across this in Ernest Holmes. This thing's called You, a wonderful, wonderful book. We are so rich in literature. So please just take a deep breath and join me in this realization. For I know that I am in the Spirit of God. I know that the Spirit of God is in me. I know that the Spirit is complete and perfect. I know that the Spirit is now operating in my affairs. It is manifesting its beauty and harmony and abundance in everything I do. I know that my body is a spiritual idea manifesting in form. And I know that every organ of my body, being a manifestation of pure spirit, contains within it a pattern of joy, of peace, of divine order, of harmony, and complete perfection. I know that this is the divine nature of me. And I just give thanks in deep gratitude for this realization and for knowing this as I know it. It is so, and so it is. Amen.
This morning's this morning's reading is from, just a moment here. There we go. This morning's reading is from Unity Daily Word. And it's an article written by Janet Connor, who wrote The Lotus and the Lily, Accessing the Wisdom of Buddha and Jesus to Nourish Your Beautiful, Abundant Life. And in a part of that, she was planning her year. And she said, I picked up the book You Are Here by Thich Nhat Hanh instead of my journal. And I began to read and I couldn't stop. Thich Nhat Hanh drew me into his gentle, loving explanation of the Buddha's great teachings. In a chapter on how everything is connected, I stumbled on a sentence that changed my life. When conditions are sufficient, there's a manifestation. I read it aloud. I read it again. I burst out of my chair crying, oh my goodness, everything I thought I knew about manifestation is 100 80 degrees off. I let this deeper understanding of manifestation settle into my bones. When conditions are sufficient, there's a manifestation. Here I was wanting to manifest a beautiful life, but I had eyes on the wrong half of the equation. I was focused on what I wanted, but it's not about wanting. It's about creating the conditions that naturally produce what I want. Conditions first, manifestation second. I had to know if Jesus said the same thing. In his original native Aramaic, we hear that Jesus was sitting on the hillside describing what happens when we shift our focus from worrying and asking to building a vibrant relationship with the divine. Do that, he says, and you create a condition of receptivity in which all you need will be provided. Buddha and Jesus taught the same thing. You create a beautiful life by creating fertile conditions, not by asking for anything. In my own words, I hear them saying, you can have anything you want. Why, you can even have things you don't know you want, but not by focusing on them. Instead, your undivided attention on your connection with the vibrant presence of the divine within. And your life will change. It has to. It is the natural order. This morning, I'm excited because we are coming to the later part of our intentional giving program. And one of the best parts of our intentional giving program, which is, by the way, when people make a commitment to their giving for the year, either monthly or however they want to do it, whether it's automatic pay or pay by checks. Anyway, that program has its best energy from the experience of people who have been living it. And our congregation has so many wise champions. So this week, we are delighted to invite Mary Troxel, who is not only one of the best serving people we know. She's dedicated her life to homeless animals and their care. She's also generously taken over the leadership of our longtime monthly service project, Food from the Heart. And so thank you, Mary. We invite you.
Hey, everybody. When I decided to, or when after Jan asked me to do this, I had to ask myself, what was it really why do I tithe? And the answer is community. Since I retired, I have set up so many different communities or become part of so many communities that nourish me. And by tithing to this community, I flourish. I, as you say, manifest at times when it's like, what's going to happen? And it happens just for my best. I appreciate the ability to be able to give of both time and money and friendship. And yes, if you would like to adopt a cat, Paws is open 4 days a week. Thank you. That's all. Okay.
More than the clouds up in the heavens, more than the sands upon the shore, more than the colors of the rainbow or the poet's metaphor, more constant than the movement of the ocean's ebb and flow, more than you can fathom. You are love more than you know. Our love, oh yeah, you are love, more than the heat of summer or the power of the sun, more than the mystery of the full moon when the day is finally done, more than the countless icy crystals in the winter's falling snow. Beyond your comprehension, you are love more than you know, more than my words could show. You are loved more than you know. More than you know. More than the wisdom of the ages, more than you can understand, more than the power of music to inspire the heart of man, more than the seconds in a lifetime, a frequency than the radio. Beyond your comprehension, you are love more than you know, more than my words could show. You are loved more than you know. More expansive and life-changing if you could feel it through and through. So take it easy on yourself and let this message carry you wherever you will go, whatever you will do. This love has got your back. This love will see it through. More than language can express, more than you could ever guess. More. You are love more than you know. You are love more than you know. More than you know. You are love. You more than you know. You are love more than you know. More than you know. More than you know. You better believe it, yeah, yeah. More than you know. More than you know. You are love more than you know.
Ask to unmute.
What a perfect song, and something that I think we all need to be reminded of constantly, how much we're loved. And I just have to echo Mary's sentiments of tithing to community, because we all need community, psychologically, spiritually, in every way. We need community. The world needs our community. And if we don't support it, we're not going to have it. So thank you, Mary, for reminding us. So I trust that you all have emerged from the ice storm that hit us. And I feel like we finally are. And I'm just like blessing electricity, blessing linemen. I've been singing that Glenn Campbell song about linemen. They're great. So what would we do without them? What we do without a lot of the people that serve us? So it's just really a big reminder of how much we need each other. And on that note, I just want to say I am feeling very blessed and prosperous about having been able to be a part of this amazing community of Unity of Wesleyan, this fabulous people. It has been a wonderful experience. And for me, I have delved deeper into Phil Moore's teachings, and it has been a great blessing. I mean, I knew about them, but I've gone deeper, and it has really been wonderful. What great people, what a wonderful ministry. And I am bowing out for now to attend to personal items, and also for this community to have their perfect minister show up, which I know that person will. And perhaps later I will get to join you again for a Sunday experience. Hopefully we'll be back together then in person. So during the ice storm, I just have to tell you a little story about myself. We were without power for 11 days. And of course, that meant our refrigerator was out for 11 days. And I needed to clean it. And it wasn't the cleaning, though, that it took a bit of time. But the hard part was throwing out all that food. And I have to tell you, the hardest part for me was throwing out salad dressing. Now, I had like 10 bottles of salad dressing. And you're going to say, why does anybody need 10 bottles of salad dressing? Well, the thing is, I used to have a lot of dinner parties and I would make a salad. And then I would think, well, what if they don't like the salad dressing I have? So I would go out and buy a new salad dressing. And then I couldn't use some of the old ones because I wasn't sure how old they were and I was afraid to look. So I got this huge accumulation of salad dressings. And so that was really hard to throw those out, even though, I mean, I was never going to use them again. So why would I even question throwing out those old things? Well, first of all, I don't believe in waste. I keep going around saying waste not, want not. And I do want to be a good steward of the planet. But that stuff served no one and it took up space. And I did feel badly about wasting it. And I realized as I was doing this, because, being in this teaching, after a while, you begin to process everything that happens in your life. Well, I began to process everything that happens in my life. So I thought, what is this about? Why about these salad dressing bottles? And I realized that it was all about feelings. At the bottom of it was feelings. It made me feel bad or badly, whichever way you want to use that adjective, adverb. But I didn't feel good about it. How about that? And so it wasn't so much the salad dressing. It was about my feelings. I just didn't want to feel the way I felt when I was like wasting things. But I was realizing, but what I was doing was creating a block to the enjoyment, not only of a clean refrigerator, but of space for something that actually served me. So it was like this aha moment. And I realized our feelings get in the way of what we know and what we want. Well, emotions, I guess, might be a better description, our emotions. And we just don't want to feel uncomfortable. And it can become like this self-defeating circle. So I'm ready for something greater, more prosperity, and all that comes, I guess, from willing to sometimes be uncomfortable. And today I'm talking about prosperity coming in many disguises, because I've looked at some subtle things that really kind of maybe stand in the way of this prosperity. So I thought I would look it up, even though I know exactly what prosperity is and what I know disguises are. But prosperity, and I love this definition best, is well-being or thriving. Doesn't that sound good? Like we are thriving, and disguised, concealed, or obscured. Well, I think prosperity, well-being is a born-in gift for us. But the revelation of it in our lives and affairs is often concealed or disguised. Even, like my thing about the bottles of dressing, what was disguised there was really this sense of being uncomfortable, and where that wasn't at all what I would have thought. I would have thought just about wasting, but underneath that was something else. And so it's often that underneath that is the disguise, like what is really going on here? What is really standing in our way of experiencing this inborn gift of life? So we're going to look today at those things that obscure our prosperity, and also how our good is often disguised, in ways that we don't recognize. Because I believe that prosperity exists for everyone. We can look around the world and say, well, that's not true. Just because we're not experiencing it doesn't mean it is not there for everyone. We live in an unlimited universe of infinite potentiality. Just look around us. Nature abounds. And I grew up on a farm in Idaho, in rural Idaho. And one of the aspects of the farm, they did a number of things, but one of the things that was done on the farm was a dairy. And the family sold cream. And in those days, the farmer, they had separators, and my grandmother and my aunt and everything, they had separators. So they would separate the cream from the milk and sell the cream. And then I remember watching all of this milk, what we would call maybe skim milk, 0% fat milk, just thrown out. It wasn't of financial benefit. So it was just thrown away. And that always struck me as just uncomfortable about that. And so we have some property, and there's lots of fruit trees on them. I didn't plant them. They've been there for a long time. And driving up to my properties, I see all these fruit trees along the road. And in the late summer and fall, there's just fruit falling all over the road, all over the ground. These trees bear copious amounts of fruit, and it goes to waste. And yet there is hunger. And so it's not because the universe is not abundant or there's lack. It's about the human condition of both consciousness, and we can say distribution. That all comes from underlying consciousness. And we see starving people in war-torn countries. And I think, how much good could come if that effort were put into producing, if truly we had peace on earth, if we could embody the consciousness of peace? Would there be a lack? And I don't think there would. So our teaching challenges us to let go of limiting ideas that say there is not enough, that we are limited. There is so much potential in this universe. It's a universe of possibilities and potential, and we have no idea yet what is to unfold. And humans, I guess, we have just not evolved enough in consciousness to understand that. So the mind can create poverty, or it can create prosperity. You can be prosperous, I can be prosperous, and that same mind that creates lack and limitation can also create happiness and prosperity. I was reshelving some books the other day, and I came across one by Gary Zukav, and I was just paging through it, and I found this quote in there, which I thought was so perfect. He said, "The world in which we live has been created unconsciously, the world in which we live. By unconscious intention, every intention sets energy in motion, whether we are conscious of it or not. We create in each moment. Each word that we speak carries consciousness. More than that, it carries intelligence, and therefore is an intention that shapes life, shapes form." So what are our intentions? What are intentions when we wake up this morning? And it all comes down, I think, in the end, do I trust this universe? Do I trust that the universe has good for me? And am I willing to actively participate to bring forth that good? And first, in this uncovering the disguises of prosperity, we have to know what prosperity is for us. I can't use somebody else's definition as a bellwether. There's, know thyself. And each one of us must decide what prosperity is for ourselves. You have heard, compare and despair. Comparing ourselves to others is a quagmire, you guys. It just keeps us stuck in that sense of lack. And I know what I want. I must know what I want, or I'll get what I've got. So my definition of prosperity for me, it is freedom. Prosperity frees me to have, do, and be, and to love. Prosperity is not just my bank account, but I have this written down because it's my intention and is what I hold for myself. It's not my bank account, but knowing that the divine presence provides what I need when I need it. And I really believe that that's true. And I have to ask myself, how is my life measuring up against this? And if it's not, why not? So for me, the outcome of prosperity looks like the presence of joy and beauty. It is family and it's financial, not just security, but an overflow of funds to have experiences. So that's my touchstone. I look at my life on a daily basis and I say, is this my outcome? Is this what is happening in my life? And if not, where is prosperity being disguised that I'm not seeing it? And how can I reveal it? So I love that song that we had just before this message about loving ourselves, because the first thing where our sense of prosperity can be disguised is our sense of self. Do I deserve? Am I good enough? And that can be as in anything in our life that we participate in. So you see, value is its own return. And the first step is to know who we are, to really know who we are, to know that if we are a creation of this wonderful realm of life, we must be the substance of this creation. We must be intentional and we must be of value. We are an expression of that which we call God, which, that word is really, really big. We're a divine idea having a human experience. Therefore, it follows logically that we are worthy. We got to get that. In all my classes and all my years of ministry, that one thing surprised me so much. I would have people in my class, people in my congregation that I knew were so fantastic. They were so marvelous. They were so amazing. And they couldn't see it at all. it just baffled me why we can't see that, but sometimes we can't see it. As Charles Fillmore used to say, oh, you're a child of God, and the infinite wants us to have life and greater life. It is us who limits us by denying our value. So I can tell you a story. When I was 15, I converted to Catholicism, and I had been going to a Catholic boarding school, and I fell in love with the ritual, and I was always looking for truth. What is the true church? And so the Catholic Church could trace their origins back to the 1st century. So I thought, well, this is the true church. But I really loved, and the nuns, I had never seen anyone live their religion until I finally met nuns. So I converted to Catholicism when I was 15. And on my baptismal day, I remember I had this white dress and I was just so excited. And the ladies of the church had made it so nice for me because I was the only one getting baptized. And I remember as I walked out of the church, this lady saying, oh my goodness, your soul is as white as your dress. And I thought, yeah, I'm a saint now. Now you have to know Catholic theology, and there are other churches who believe this too. But I had studied theology and I'd studied catechism. And in the catechism book, in preparation for baptism, there was this image of a milk bottle. And in that milk bottle, of course, was this white milk, but there were all these spots, these black spots in the dirt cluttering up in this milk in the bottle. And that was our soul, our potential soul. But then we had all that sin on it, making it ugly and dirty and whatever. But when you're baptized, the idea is it's all washed away. So I'm thinking, oh my God, my soul is as pure and perfect right now. So I went home and I went in my bedroom and I shut the door and I stayed there and I thought, I can't come out because right now my soul is perfect. It's cleansed of all that sin. And if I die right now, I'll go straight to heaven. I'll be a saint. But if I leave the room, there's no telling what's going to happen. I'm going to get more clutter in that milk bottle of my soul. So I stayed in my room just as long as I could. And of course, I didn't die. And as far as sainthood goes, well, that's another story. See, sin for those raised in certain traditions separates us from God. And there's punishment for sin or a sense of particularly not deserving or not being good enough and all that comes from that. And even if we're not raised in a tradition that teaches that, there's this cultural consciousness that tells us in one way or another there's something lacking in us. So to come into this teaching, it took me a long time to really get it, to really get that I am a child of God and I deserve. And that is true for every single one of us. That when I can look at you and you can look at me and we can see a child of God, that is like a prayer. That is a prayer. And because, it was kind of true, like leaving my room, I would start getting cluttered up with all this stuff on my soul. My mind can get cluttered as I go about my day and I get frustrated. I was so frustrated last night. My horse got out and I won't even tell you my reaction because it might shock you. So I have to get up and I have to read spiritual books every morning. I have to be reminded. And if you're not doing this, I encourage you to begin your day with some book that supports the truth of your being. I ruined a pair of shoes last night because of the horse. So I had to get up this morning and remind myself that both the horse and I were children of God. It wasn't what I was thinking last night. But anyway, so the second thing is that prosperity lurks behind our fear. It's often disguised by fear. So we've got to be willing to risk, to take a chance on our faith, to trust that there is good for us and we shall have it. And can I move into that faith, knowing that there is good for me? This is a universe that supports us, even if we can't see what it is, even if we don't know yet. In Christian scriptures, we read, now faith is the assurance of what we hope for and the certainty of what we do not see. You know, we have to, they say, believe it before we see it, which is counterintuitive to what we want. I'll believe it when I see it, but we believe it first. The quote goes on to say, for your Father knows what you need before you ask. Isn't that just thrilling? That the answer already exists before we ask. And there is a presence that is ever with us, that knows what we need, that is right for us. And as I have lots of family stories, and this is okay if I tell it, but one of our daughters, our oldest daughter, when she graduated from college, she'd always intended to go to graduate school because she's just very academic. And so she applied to the New School of Social Research in New York City. And it's a wonderful, wonderful school. And I never understood why she applied there, but I thought, well, maybe she wanted to go to school in New York. But she did, and it's a great school. And they gave her this full scholarship, and they also awarded her a prestigious award that is only given to one incoming freshman. So it was just a really, really special thing. But as we talked that summer, I just got this sense, and there was this, I'm not so excited about it. And the more we began to talk, the more I said, you don't really want to go there, do you? And she said, oh, no, but they've done so much for me. I just can't turn it down. It would feel awful. And I don't know where I would be going anyway. And what would I be doing? And what would I, all of those questions, but feeling really badly about giving up something that was offered and so good. And so I said, well, if there's a niggling in your soul that's telling you this isn't right, then it's difficult. And so she did turn that down, and she didn't go, and she worked that year. And I said to her, what would you really like to do if you could do anything you wanted? And she said, well, I'd like to go to Yale University. They have a great American Studies program. And I said, well, apply. Well, that's kind of a pretty big thing to vision for yourself. And she did. And she got accepted. Not only did she get accepted, she got a full scholarship through her master's and PhD program. Now, had she not listened to that inner voice, and that inner voice, you've heard it, I've heard it, and we ignore it at our peril. Had she not listened to that inner guidance, and see, there is that inner guidance, there is that good for us, that right for us, that place we're supposed to be. And it's there guiding us and telling us. And the more sensitive we get to it, the louder we hear it. So if she hadn't listened to that, she wouldn't be I don't think she'd be where she is now, because it opened so many doors, and it was the perfect experience. So I truly believe we're being divinely guided at every step. Our angels, our guides, or whatever you want to call that, your soul presence, it's directing us toward all things good. And when we're hit with an idea or an inspiration, don't ignore it. We are being led truly toward the people and the opportunities that will open doors for us. I had, there was a guy in my class, one of my classes I was teaching, and he got fired. And of course he was upset, and he was angry, and he was scared. And what's he going to do now? And, what I knew about him was he worked for a lot of reasons that we all work responsibility, security, all of those things, afraid to take a step outside of security. And so, but he had lost his job. And I said, well, how about there's something better waiting for you? You didn't love this job. You liked it okay, but it was security. But what would you do if you could do exactly what you wanted? And he said, well, I've always wanted to be a nurse. And I said, well, how about this being the door opening to that? And he ended up applying, and he had to take some courses, some other courses in order to get to that point, which he did. And he even ended up sleeping in his car sometimes in order to afford what it was that he wanted to do. And, you know, I haven't seen him for a while, but he was so excited. He became a critical care nurse. Now, not only is he absolutely loving what he's doing, he is, see, when we're doing what we're supposed to do, we also bring good to the world in some way. And if it's, maybe it's joy because we're enjoying what we do. So the question is, am I willing to choose to believe that I am guided to my highest good and deepest desires? Am I willing to really know that? And sometimes it, you know, it's moving past our fear. I know it, I believe it, but I'm afraid. Well, that's okay. You know, we admit that. But here's a practice that I use. And I truly believe this because I've lived long enough to see it in my own life, that I express gratitude for whatever happens. It may be heaven leading me to something better. So I invite you, for whatever is happening in your life, to express gratitude deliberately. I express gratitude for whatever is happening right now, because I know that it is leading me to something better. So I just want to conclude by saying, to experience greater prosperity, I have to be aware of what I need to let go of and what I need to embrace. I have to be willing to step into my fear and trust. It's even like tithing. I have to trust that as I let go of this, I open a place for more good. I don't create the abundance. I just provide a place for it to be experienced. And right now in Unity, we're all being invited to be a place where spirit can flow through us. It's not ours, it belongs to the universe. So I want you to know this. I did clean out my refrigerator. I threw away 2 bags of garbage. I mean, like big bags of garbage. I don't know how it all fit in there, including the salad dressings. And it occurred to me that here's an answer to my situation. I don't even actually ever have to serve salad at a dinner party again. Ha! So Spirit showed me a solution to my problem. Therefore, I won't feel moved to go out and buy more salad dressing. I could, you know, serve asparagus. So I use this to look at where I am in my acceptance of prosperity and in life. And some of the things I'm pretty good at, but I am not really good at letting go. And it's one of them that I just have to look at. So my question is, where are you today? And what does prosperity mean to you? Do you have your own definition? Because if we don't know what it is, then how are we going to move into it? And the other question is, where do you trust? In a loving, supporting universe that has your back, has your good at heart? I mean, we can know that and still not trust very much, can't we? And then the third thing is, can we be grateful for what's happening? Affirming good can and does come from each event. Prosperity exists in the universe of infinite potentiality. And you and I are free to access it. So let's just take a moment, and a moment of joy and gladness. Just breathe into that. Breathe into the wonder of your own beingness. And as we close our eyes, we can almost let go of the sense of boundaries, that our skin is a boundary, that we are actually absorbed into this mighty universe of great potentiality, of great gifts for us. Wow. And I am just so grateful for a universe that has my back. Bless you. God bless you on your week. Namaste.
How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? Given the chance, I'm gonna tell you now. How many ways can I give thanks for the blessings I have known? I've got a list, and I will tell you how. Grateful for each breath awake, grateful for each step I take, grateful that I'm here to play my part. Grateful for the morning sun, grateful when the day is done, grateful that I have you in my heart. Grateful for this universe, for the better and the worse. Grateful that this world keeps spinning round. Grateful for my memories, grateful for my hopes and dreams, grateful for the blessings I have found. Give praises for all the gifts I have. Given the chance, I'm gonna shout out loud. Grateful for each breath awake, grateful for each step I take, grateful that I'm here to play my part. Grateful for the morning sun, grateful when the day is done, grateful that I have you in my heart. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways can I be grateful?
Reverend Julie, thank you so much for a message that not only pierced my consciousness, but made me smile. And I love the idea of both you and the horse being children of God. And I'm sorry about your shoes. And thank you so much, Mary, for that moving message to remind us of the power of supportive community for our spiritual home. Thank you. This week, everybody received their letter for the intentional giving program. And I particularly like it because the team put together what I think of as fat mail. That's because there's surprises in there. So if for any reason you didn't get your intentional giving envelope, please let Sharon know or put it in the chat and we'll make sure we get it to you. And please consider, as you're making a choice about the giving that you're going to do for this year for the Unity Center of West Lynn, imagine your highest vision in that unlimited potential of the universe and what we can do, who we are, and what God's intention for this community is. And your giving is certainly a channel of God's abundance. And our board, fabulous people that they are eager to be planning the year and to know what we're looking at this point. So we all want to flourish. We know that part of flourishing is knowing what kind of finances that they can predict, but it's also your willingness to keep Unity Center in your prayers, knowing and seeing that the vision that we hold and the vision that we continue to clarify can become true because it is true first and foremost in our beliefs. And this is a time in our service where we give, this is the time in our service where we have an offering. And we have a vision for the intentional giving program, and that is spirit-led. We are co-creating a vibrant, inclusive ministry, welcoming and supporting everyone on their spiritual journey. And we've set that high vision. We love to keep envisioning it. And the truth is, this year, our vision, we never expected our vision to include digital, but here we are doing church online. So together, here's how you can give. You can send a gift in through PowerPoint, PayPal, you can send in an offering by check. You can go on the website and just simply push the donate button. There's multiple ways. So when you know, as you're deciding what you're going to give, let us say this affirmation that just came up a moment ago and will come back up again. My faith tunes into and turns on the divine flow that has always been present. I am receptive to the inflow and the outpouring of the universe. It's Eric Butterworth. So when you hold your offering in your consciousness, we say our offering prayer together. God's love in me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I always say thank you, God, because it just seems the appropriate thing. We have some announcements. And before we do those announcements, I want to introduce our wonderful board president, Nancy Lilly, who has been on the board for 2 years and has carried us through this extraordinary time of digital transition and so much else. Nancy. Nancy, you may have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jan. I want to say that I want to respond to what you said by saying that we've all carried. I've done my bit to carry us through, but really it's been all of us. It's a group effort. All right, I just wanted to say something about Julie. I've been so grateful to her for her willingness. She came into this small church that was going through big changes and didn't really know exactly where it was headed. And she jumped in with both feet, opening her heart, opening her mind, opening her willingness to do everything she could for us. She came to our board meetings. Of course, she spoke for us. She has such a big heart and took us into that heart. And as a board member, I saw how much she was willing to give and how much she did. And I'll never be able to express my gratitude fully. So let's all give her a great big thank you. And see you later. We'll see you again.
And as always, we stay after for 20 minutes to half an hour. So please be sure to stay after with us so that you have a chance to talk with her. And Julie, thank you so much. So as you all know, and we've mentioned, big ice storm just happened. Most of you have had power outages. And what happened at the Unity Center, our physical location on Willamette Drive, is we lost 4 old trees. 3 of them were 100-year-old trees, 1 on the wedding garden and 3 in the front. And quite frankly, it's kind of a war zone of downed trees. And we're putting together work parties. Paul Etchemendy, Reverend Victoria's husband and the owner of the building, has been working on it himself. He's been pulling together people, but we definitely want to be involved. So this is interesting. There is a wedding open house on Sunday. So there would be really wonderful if we could get in there and pitch in. Their evaluator, their insurance estimator is coming tomorrow. So what we would like to do is between Monday and Saturday, make available help. For sure, there's going to be a work party on Saturday. If you are willing to help, or you can draft somebody who is willing to help, it's going to be tons and tons of downed branches. They have professionals who will come and saw up the lumber, but trucks, rakes, any way that you can help, please put in the chat or stay after. I promised Victoria a list of people who could help. So she will let us know when on Saturday, this coming Saturday, I didn't look up the date. It looks like it's March 6th. But before that, if you can work before that as well, they're working every day. And it's, as I said, it looks like it's been a disaster because it has. Now here's the blessing. Nothing fell on the building. Nothing fell on the chairs and things. Something fell on the fence though. So there's lots of things to be done, but fundamentally the building was safe. So that's great. So again, we'll remind you, please put your name and phone number in the chat. You know how to use the chat. Go down there, put your name and number in. Your email would be really valuable. Your email, your name, and when you could be available. So today is the final day, the conclusion of the long-running discussion of the book of Ho'oponopono, which is a book about Hawaiian mysticism. Stays after from 12:30 to 2. You can catch up with Marilee Payne to get the email if you don't have it. I mean, the link if you don't have it, but all the information has been in the e-news every week. So as part of intentional giving, we are having a wonderful class that starts this coming Thursday, March 4th. I know many of you are already enrolled in it. I checked with Christine. There's 16 of us who are planning to do the course. It's going to be terrific. Art of Abundance, The Art of Abundance by Reverend Christine Green is going to read the class. The book is of the same name by Dennis Merritt Jones. You need to get the book separately. But here's the thing, there's a bargain if you get enrolled by March 1, and simply enrolling means send her an email. And all of the information is in the newsletter. But if you want to email her and just let her know, reserve my place, and for the early bird bargain rate of $49 versus $60 afterwards, revchristine@ revchristine.com. Pretty easy to remember, revchristine@revchristine.com. And you can make payment arrangements. She takes Venmo, PayPal, send a check, anything you need to do. And just to let you know, she's also giving a percentage of that already bargain rate to the church. One more thing, you know that the address of the office for the center has shifted to the Lutheran Church across from Macadam. Our wonderful administrator, Sharon McGrath, is there on Thursday afternoons. You can call. The telephone number is the same. So at this point, I'd like to bring up the candles. Bring up the candles, Sharon, because we know that the light never goes out. Why? Because we are the light. And at this moment, we have another short minute meditation video from the Daily Word, and it's quite lovely. Also on prosperity, our theme for today.
Prosperity. God's good is ever present in my life. My life is a channel for God's ever-present good. I control the flow of divine substance in my life with my attitudes, thoughts, and actions. Just as water channels can get clogged, so my life can feel obstructed with ideas of fear, greed, lack, and unforgiveness. I clear any debris from my mind and open myself to a greater flow of good. I release the belief that anything or anyone outside of me can prevent my good. I participate in the circulation of blessings by giving generously and knowing I will receive in abundance. I keep my thoughts on gratitude and trust the constant flow of good in my life. I forgive myself and others for past hurts and receive the wealth of a peaceful heart. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. Psalm 36:8.
Thank you so much for your participation, for your attendance on Sundays. I know we are a small yet totally hearty band, and I'm so excited that digital has given us the opportunity for more people to see us. And so please refer people to YouTube for Wesleyan Unity Service, Wesleyan Unity Center, and ask them to like and subscribe. And we're there and people are seeing us. So let's all reach out this week in love and in the spirit of unity. Have a beautiful, safe, healing week. Join us again next week. We're here every Sunday for inspiring messages and meditation and music. And please stay after for not coffee, not goodies, but a stimulating, loving conversation. And please remember the tree work parties and invite your friends. We're going to close now because we have I added this and forgot it. Today we express the strength and vitality of God. So this is where we go, and now we'll move to the prayer of transformation to say together, the light of God is in us, the love of God moves through us, the power of God transforms us, the presence of God is who we are. Wherever we go, God is, and all is well. So thank you very much, and stay with us afterwards as I turn off the recording here.